Greetings, programs, and welcome to another episode of Recruit a Friend, the show where we get to learn about the people behind the keyboard. This week, we're joined by probably the biggest guest we've ever had, somebody whose impact on the community is so well known and so felt that that Blizzard just rolled them into it. So we're going to do, without further ado, a big Recruit a Friend welcome from Raider.io, Hulahoops. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's a privilege.
Yeah, it's you're kind of like a rock star.
Thank you.
So...
I don't think so, but I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, no, we're pretty excited about having you. Definitely the highlight of my week. I know it's only Tuesday for us, but yeah, I can't think of anything that will top this.
Well, there's still days in the week for it to get better, but
I'll let you know.
I'm really excited. It's really fun to chat with members of the community. Kind of, talk about my story and everyone else's story and kind of see, where we all relate.
Yeah, well, let's jump right into it then.
Absolutely.
Why don't you tell us how you first got exposed to the Warcraft universe?
Oh, goodness. So I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I am going to age myself a little bit. I started playing in vanilla. I was in the university working on my first degree, and it was an honors history degree, so I had to write a thesis. It was a 2-year-long thesis, and this was long nights, just hours spent research and writing. And I realized I need a quick thing that I can do to take a break here and there. My brother-in-law at the time had just started playing this new game called World of Warcraft, and he and his friends were telling me about it. And, I was in Best Buy one day, and I saw it, when it was boxes, when you had to buy a physical copy. And I saw it, I'm like, I'll give it a try. And instantly got hooked. I basically made it my way to just decompress. I would just hop on, level for a little bit, get back to work. I worked a lot overnight because I lived with my family at the time, obviously my parents, my sister, and I could not get any work done during the day. So a lot of my work on my thesis was at night. And so, I'd be there 3 a.m, like, I'm going to go level a little bit, level a little bit more. It took me a long time to level this first time around. I was brand new to MMOs. I didn't know. I remember meeting a couple of friends. I forget their names, but I met a couple of friends. I made a couple of friends that kind of took me under their wing, taught me everything. Because this is back when, like, I didn't know what LFW meant or I didn't know what anything meant. FTW, I thought was for the weak. I didn't realize it was for the win. These things, I didn't know anything. LFG, no, I didn't know any of the MMO specific acronyms, nothing. So they kind of taught me everything, and I started playing, and I got really into it. And basically just have never stopped playing since then.
I love that. I had a friend who also was very new to MMOs when he started playing back in vanilla, and he thought AFK stood for awesome fucking kill.
It should, honestly. That's a good one. I like that. Yeah, I didn't know any of the acronyms. I was lost. But I had a couple of friends, and this is back before even Vent, so we were all using Skype for everything, and then getting into Ventrilo, and then it's been 20 years now, I guess, because this is the 20th anniversary of Warcraft. So I started playing 20 years ago.
Did you know? Could you imagine then that this was going to be your career?
Absolutely not. In no way, shape, or form. I loved video games from day one. My parents had one of the, the old Atari, if we played, Dungeon Defenders or whatever it was on the old school, and then every Nintendo console. I have memories of me and my sister. My sister's a couple years older than me. She would wake me up in the middle of the night. We're talking 3 a.m. We'd go into the back room where we had our little video game set up, and she would play Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and I would sit on the couch with the walkthrough printed out, telling her what to do. Go left, go right. We were a little team. And I loved video games from day one. And, when I found World of Warcraft, it's like, okay, this is the type of game I have always been looking for, right? This is my type of game. But to answer your question again, did I ever see this coming? Absolutely not. No way, shape, or form. I had a path kind of laid out for me, university, career, all that good stuff. I never saw this coming. And yeah, no, absolutely not.
You mean to tell me your thesis wasn't the effects of number scoring in online games and
No, my
dopamine levels?
thesis was centered on the military revolution in the 12th and 13th century, brought about by Swiss mercenaries and their advancements in weaponry and tactics.
Wow.
I was a history buff. Still am,
That's
but
pretty close to dungeon scores.
no, close enough. They they definitely beat some bosses.
Yeah.
But that was basically I definitely took a different route, let's just say. But
I love it. I love it. Also, how long were you playing before you weren't lost? At what point did you feel comfortable in the game?
Pretty quickly, I got the gist of things. I will tell you right now, I played at the beginning on a laptop. I did not have a mouse. I had the little nubby that was your mouse, a little nubby, like not even a touchpad, a nubby. So I moved with the arrow keys only. So I was arrow key movement, not just like keyboard turning, literally arrow key movement, and everything had to be keybound, or else I couldn't use my little nubby mouse, right? This is the trials and tribulations we went through 20 years ago without decent technology.
Nubpad warrior.
Yeah, I was literally I was a nubby pad warrior. That's what I was. I wasn't touchpad warrior. I was a nubby warrior. And so I basically, that took me a long time to kind of figure out, oh, hey, a mouse might help. And get better at that kind of the actual technical stuff. But getting the sense of the game came pretty quickly. I didn't raid in vanilla because it took me that long. It took me over a year to level my first character to 60 because it was really just like 20 minutes here, a couple days later, 30 minutes here. And then sometimes I'd be like, all right, I'm going to play forever. And, but then, it took me a long time and I took my time with it. I learned it that way. I definitely had that experience of exploring, learning as I go, and it was wonderful. I have so much nostalgia for it. But then when TBC was coming out, I had just hit max level. Did a couple of max level dungeons with some friends, but never really got into Molten Core or anything like that. And then when TBC came out, this is when I got hooked. I had a friend in real life that I was playing with at this point. I got him into it. And we started playing every single day. We joined a couple guilds, and then I joined a really kind of like basic raiding guild, and I was there for Kara and Gruul, and then realized I want more. So I joined another raiding guild, and then I was like, I want more. And so by the time Sunwell came out, I was in the top Horde guild on my server.
Oh, wow.
So I played a Warlock to start.
Okay.
Everyone knows me as a Paladin, but that was not the beginning. I started playing Paladin during Sunwell. So when it was Black Temple and Hyjal before Sunwell came out, I guess this would be 2007. I tore my ACL, and really badly actually. It tore off from both ends at the same time. Playing soccer, good times. I was on crutches and basically just I had my parents had to bring a bed downstairs. Like I couldn't even go upstairs.
How do you tear it from both ends?
You go to take a shot and you plant on your left foot, and your knee goes one way, and the rest of you goes the other. That was a good time. And so that was horrible. And so I had a lot of downtime to play World of Warcraft. That's when I started playing a Paladin. I decided to level a Paladin, and then when Sunwell came around, I applied for this guild Rampage on Crush Ridge, which was the top Horde guild, and they didn't need a Warlock. But I was like, I just finished leveling a Paladin, and I'm interested in playing Paladin. So that's where the whole Paladin, the end of the story began, was in Sunwell. The original Sunwell was when I first started playing Pally, and I've kind of been playing it ever since.
I love it. That's great. Did you keep playing at that high level through like Wrath and on?
Yes. Wrath I did for sure. I got Grand Crusader. I got Magic Seeker, which was Realm First Malagos. Definitely would have gotten more Realm Firsts in Wrath, except the one guild that kept getting them before us started right an hour before us.
Those bastards.
So
really?
they would get it like an hour before us. It was an alliance guild called No Chicks Allowed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they held to that rule. Yeah, one of those. And so they would raid an hour before us, and they would kill it like 30 minutes before us. The time we got Malagos, the lag was so horrendous. But we had spies. We had spies on the Alliance to look. They're like, okay, they gave up, guys. They gave up. They're all gone. They left. Malagos, everything. So like, and we decided, doesn't matter how bad this leg is, doesn't matter. We are all in it. We're in it to win it. We got Magic Seeker. We got Realm First of one of the raids. And then I did end up switching servers in TOC to go join another guild where I got Grand Crusader, and which was really fun. And then I joined another guild. Well, that guild kind of merged with another one that I think was like US 10 at the time in ICC. I didn't raid a ton then because that was when I started law school at this point. So I kind of needed to focus a little bit on school. So I didn't raid a ton. I did raid, but not like, I wasn't part of the progression team at that point because I just didn't have time. And then Cataclysm is the one expansion that is an anomaly for me. I didn't raid at all. Because that was when I was in my last year of law school and I really needed to buckle down. I just couldn't afford to, at least this was where my brain was going. I can't afford to spend all the time raiding. I probably still played just the same, but I led a PvP guild instead. So I didn't raid, I PvP'd, and I probably spent the same time playing Warcraft. But I decided, but then, I have much more freedom in when I can play and all that stuff. So I just go do some arena, go do some RPGs. I would lead tournaments with my friends, my guild and stuff like that. And it was a lot of fun. But that is the one expansion I never stepped foot into raid, not even Raid Finder.
Oh, wow.
Since they brought out Raid Finder, right? I believe the original Kata.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So I never touched a single raid. I've gone back since and done those raids like for transmog runs, but to the point where like you one-shot each boss. I'm really excited for Kata Classic because I'm going to get to experience these raids as if they're new. Yeah, I'm really excited. I have a 10-man group where we're just kind of waiting for it to come out. And this is going to be the first time, which is a little tough because everyone has done them. So I'm going to be able to, how does this one work? I'm going to actually have to research for once. Like I haven't had to do that in Wrath Classic. But I'm going to have to do my research and all that good stuff. But that's the one expansion. But other than that, then I got back into raiding. And for most of the expansions after that, I kind of stuck around like US 30 to 50 ranking. And then as time went and I was like, I can't do 4 days a week anymore. I went down to 3 days a week, down to 2-day-a-week guilds. I led a couple 2-day-a-week guilds and raid led and guild led at that point with some friends. We were always CE. So CE was always the goal, but we're like the week before it's done type thing. Like, let's get CE, please. So I kept raiding at the mythic level. And then Nathria was when I stopped basically playing retail as my main game. So I continued raiding until then, always mythic, always CE level. And then Castle Nathria was kind of, my time commitment just kept getting down. I couldn't put that much time into it. And the state of the game, there was one aspect of it that really just frustrated me. I've been playing since vanilla. One of my favorite expansions was Wrath, Mop. I actually really liked Warlords and Legion. And the game kept going in the direction of your player power is outside of the raid. So when Nathria was around, I'm like, okay, I go to raid. I don't barely any gear drops. You get almost nothing from the raid itself. And then you have to go to Torghast. And then you have to go farm this. And then you have to go do this. And then I'm like, I just can't, this isn't what I want out of the game anymore. It was also at that time halfway through Nathria. I think we were on Stone Legion General's Mythic when I decided to step back.
A lot of people decided
it was a really good boss to step back on. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided, because TBC Classic just released. And I loved the original TBC because that's when I first started raiding. I have a lot of great memories. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to step back and I'm going to go back to play Classic. And so for now, I'm a Classic gamer. Classic Wrath has been my main game. I kind of don't really touch retail much anymore. Every now and then I'll hop on my Demon Hunter and be like, who wants to carry me to key? Because I have no gear. What does this do? And, various things like that. But, Nathria was kind of like the turning point for me. And had Classic having come out kind of obviously made that a big decision. But up until then, yeah, I stuck with Mythic rating, CE or higher. And always kind of really loved pushing myself.
Yeah. And now you're in Classic and you're loving life in Classic. I tried to play Classic Wrath. I also started in vanilla. I did not want to play Classic Vanilla, and I did not want to play Classic
Same.
PC.
Leveling vanilla. No, thank you.
Gross. But I wanted to try Classic Wrath, but I didn't want to try it when it first came out. I was like about a month and a half ago. I was like, you know what? Let me go in. I love Wrath a lot, far too much, but a lot of my emotional growth is attached to the characters from Warcraft 3 and the story of Wrath of the Lich King.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm going to jump in. I'm going to do it. But you can't start at level 70.
No.
You have to play through and I was just like, well, let me just buy a boost. I'll buy a boost to 70 and then I'll level through. The boost goes to 80.
Right.
And it's like, but I want to play Wrath.
You want to level Wrath,
like,
yeah.
Why does Wrath Classic not just start you at the level for Wrath? I don't understand that. So I have already decided I stopped after ICC. I took a 10-year hiatus. I joined the Navy. And then, so I was like, there's no chance now I'll ever play Cata Classic because I'm not going to level through. I just want to start at that level. So,
well, you've got a little bit of time to catch up, but
no.
Now I think the boosts. I think they're coming out when Cata comes out. They'll probably come out with another pre-expansion boost that might put you to 70.
Maybe
they'll probably will.
I'll find it.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yes.
That's crazy. So you're playing the game at a super high level. Are you a lawyer, by the way?
I was a lawyer. Yes. I practiced law for about 7 years.
Okay.
Including my articling, and I practice mostly corporate business law. Sorry, where do you live? Like, what country?
I'm in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Okay, so yeah, I'm in Canada too. So, we have the difference between barrister and solicitor, right? So, barrister, you go to court, you're doing all that stuff. I was a solicitor, so I did wills, I did real estate, I did estates, I did business transactions like buying and selling. By the end, the bulk of my work was like buying and selling businesses, which is kind of stressful when it's like the price point is like $30 million. It's kind of stressful in those cases, but yes, I did practice law for about 7 years, and this was never a career. Like growing up, I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be a lawyer. That was never my thing. I don't have any lawyers in my family. No, there was no push towards it. I loved history, so my first degree, as I mentioned, was in history. And I mentioned I did an honors program. This is how much I love history. The honors program meant another year of university before I could get my bachelor's. But I was like, yeah, let's do it. I want to do it. And it was fun because the honors program, like your classes are like 8 people. It's seminar style. Like it's a special thing where I went to University of British Columbia. And it was just a really great program. I loved it. And then as we're kind of finishing up the program, you're only in the last year, and everyone's like, okay, what are you going to do next? And half of them are like, I'm going to go get my master's. I'm going to go get this. And I'm like, I don't want to be a history professor because that's kind of the only pathway to continue in academia. Like, what else are you going to do with a history degree? And, my parents would always, and I always said like, oh, I could totally use this. I could go work in a museum. Like, what do you do with a history degree? And then I realized, unfortunately, the only good thing from a history degree is the ability to go get more school. A bunch of my friends at this point had gone to take the LSAT, to go to law school. I'm like, it was very much a shrug career for me. It was, lawyers make good money, and I always really I took law in high school, and I enjoyed the academia, like just the actual, that part of it, the intellectual part of law. And so I'm like, I guess I'll go to law school. What's the line from Legally Blonde? What, like it's hard?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah. So you Legally Blonde.
Law school is very hard. Law school is hard.
Okay.
If you're the type of person who coasted through high school, coasted through even your bachelor's, law school is gonna kick your ass.
Yeah. Would you say it's too hard to be in a U.S. top 10 rating guild?
It's harder. Actually, it's less time commitment than that is. Actually, and the people are pretty much the same. There's a lot more alcohol in law school, though. A lot of drinking. Okay. A lot of drinking. So I was like, I guess I'll just go to law school, right? My mom has always been the type like, everyone has that mom's like, oh, you're going to be prime minister one day, right? Like, shoot for the moon. Like, and she's always wanted me to have like the prestigious job. And I'm like, I guess I'll go be a lawyer, I guess. Parts of the career I loved. But in hindsight, I realized I really liked law. I didn't really like being a lawyer. So I really liked how the law is formed, how it works, the actual ins and outs of it, the jurisprudence, the case law, the legislation behind it all, how it actually functions in the justice system, and how, that. I also really like the ability to help my clients, because most of the time when people would come to me, it's either a massive decision in their life, a horrible point in their life, like working with estates when a family member has passed away, and being able to guide them through that and being that kind of like really centering them. They're grieving, helping them, and the estate process is so confusing. And helping them through that, helping them make big decisions, and being there, being a part of people buying their first homes, right? Like, I love to be able to do that and help them and be a part of that. But the actual career part of being a lawyer, when I started to feel that the only reason, like, billable hours and all that stuff sucks, but when I'm starting to get encouraged to do just a good enough job so that they'll pay the bill, they'll come back, but don't go above and beyond because you need to move on to the next file and bill more hours. And that was kind of like, that never sit well with me. So at the end of 2018, it's also an incredibly stressful job. I will be very upfront about that. It is a very stressful job. And I was at the point where I just wasn't sleeping. I was working really long hours. I had one file at the end of 2018 where I was the lead on it. It was a massive business purchase in the tens of millions of dollars. And it was closing before Christmas. And I got really sick. And I ended up in the hospital a couple times. I was literally working from the hospital. Like, when it got to that point where I couldn't just give it to someone else. Like, I had to finish this deal. And I was in a hospital bed on my laptop on a call with my client. And I realized, what am I doing to myself? Right? Like, I can't live like this. And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to just take a break. So I kind of took a break for, I think, about 5 or 6 months. Told my firm, look, I just need to step back for a bit, and we'll reassess going forward. And just, in that 6 months, it was a very difficult decision. I've put in 10 years of university, how much money, student loans, those will be around forever. And to get to this point and just to, part of my brain was I'm giving up. But then I kind of came to the conclusion, I'm not giving up. I'm just moving to something that's better for me. And so I took some time off. I very luckily have an incredibly supportive husband who said, you know what, this is for you. This is for your mental health, for your physical health, for everything. We need to get this figured out. So he said, take as much time as you need. So after about the 6 months time, I was like, you know what, I can't go back to that job. I don't want to go back to that job. Parts of it, again, I loved, but it just started getting to be too much. So I was like, let's do something else. So then I started to find, I took another couple months just to kind of, get my head straight. And eventually I was like, all right, 2019, I'm going to start finding some work. And I wanted to find something easy, like a 9-to-5, where the job stays at the job, right? Mm-hmm. The biggest thing was I never stopped working.
Right.
When I was in that,
take it home with you.
Yeah. I took everything home. I worked at home after, that's the other thing. The pressure as an associate lawyer is, if a partner's at the office longer than you, oh, no. Right. Especially if you're one of the younger ones. So basically I didn't leave the firm until the partners had gone home, and we had a couple that stayed late, and it's one of the, and so I was there super long, and then I come home and I'm still working, and then I'm trying to sleep, just working my brain. And so, I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. So I was like, let's find a job, 9-to-5, just an office administration role, get my feet back under me, and then we'll look for something else there. And then COVID hit.
Oh.
And so office jobs, no one was hiring for office jobs when the offices are all shut down.
I guess we'll just work from home.
Exactly. And so this is the very long story of how I got at Raider.io.
Right.
So I was like, all right, well, shit. I can swear, right? Is that okay?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, okay. I cuss like a sailor sometimes, so I'm trying to have a little decorum. But so yeah, I was like, okay, well, this sucks. So I started looking for stuff online, right? My brother-in-law, he's a graphic artist, but he also does freelance stuff on the side, and a lot of it is website design. And he often will get tasked to just create an entire website, and that includes copywriting. So he started hiring me to do a lot of copy for his websites. So there's like random like security company websites out there with stuff that I've written randomly. So I did a bunch of copy stuff and I was like, I need to find an actual job. We were getting to the point where like my husband, like I said, very supportive, but he's like, you know, you need to start making money again. It's hurting. You know, I live in Vancouver, so yeah, you know what that means.
Yeah, the cost of living is notoriously low in Vancouver.
Oh yeah, it's just so easy. You know, I just got real estate left, right, and center. So you know, it got to that point, and so I was like, I need to find something. So 2019 was also a big year for me in Warcraft because since I wasn't working, I played a lot of WoW. This is how I, you know, spent my time, and it was really good for me because I had a great group of friends that I was playing with. I basically hung out with them every single day. Some of my best friends to date are from that group that I met back in BFA. And like I talked to them every single day still. And so we did a lot of keys. Like we were just doing keys all the time, always dungeons. That's when I started getting really into Raider.io. Because I never really did too much Mythic Plus and Legion. When it first came out, I was like, what is this, right? This is stupid. I don't like this gameplay. And then BFA came around. I met this group of friends. They're like, do you want to come do some dungeons? I'm like, I guess. And then we do dungeons. Like, this is awesome.
This number just goes up?
Yeah, why haven't I done this entire time? Like, where was I in Legion? And so I started like, and they're like, do you have Raider.io? I'm like, oh, what's a Raider.io? So, you know, I started, you know, getting into it. I was on the website every day, started following them on Twitter. And then I saw a tweet from the Raider.io account back in, you know, mid 2019, saying that they were hiring a social media manager, fully remote job. And I was like, I know how to tweet, right? Like, not realizing a social media manager position is much more than just tweeting, right? As I have since learned, it is actually like a position that requires a lot of depth and a lot of research and a lot of knowledge and know-how. Shout out to Raider.io's current social media manager, Ace who is phenomenal. And so I was like, I guess I'll apply, right? So I put in my resume and all that stuff. And at this point, I was actually like getting really into keys. So I also had a lot of friends involved in the MDI and stuff like that. So I kind of put that on my resume and how much I loved the MDI. And, you know, I got a message from Jaw, who is the creator, founder, and owner and main developer of Raider.io still today. And he messaged me. He said, hi, I got your resume for the social media manager position. Do you have time to talk? I was like, sure. And he said, so you're a little overqualified to be a social media manager. I was like, I know, but I would like the job.
Excuse me, miss, you're a lawyer?
Yeah. So, I mean, that was actually something I got a lot when I was applying for these office jobs, right? Just like receptionist, officeman. They're like, you're overqualified. I'm like, I get that, but like, you're welcome, right?
Yeah.
Like, you will get this for, you know, $16 an hour. Like, I'm willing to do it. But, you know, the fear is, and it's a legitimate fear, that I will do it for a little bit and then I'll take off, right? Which was kind of the plan. But this one, I was like, I would love to do this job. And so John told me, he's like, I'd really like you to work here, but I don't think social media manager is kind of the way to go. So we talked about it, and he said, what is your interest in the game right now? And I was like, I love the MDI, right? I love the esports. I love all that stuff, and I love kind of all the events. And we basically together created a new position at the company, which is the events coordinator. So my job to start at Raider.io was creating events. So that's where our first events kind of came from, like our push week events that we would do early on, which were kind of like the high key hustle, like, you know, pushing and all that stuff, just the kind of the ones that were kind of spattered around. And this is where Break the Meta first started, is from this events program I created, as well as the Mythic Plus Charity Pro-Am. And so all those events were kind of just like my brainchild from the current kind of creating this events program. I also started getting into writing content. So a lot of the written content from like 2020, 2021, I contributed a lot of the written content. So I was doing a lot of this stuff. And I was kind of just like, you know, getting involved in all different aspects. And then eventually over time, you know, Raider.io was a company that started with 3 people, right? 2 people, technically. Dratnos was one of the first to join, creating the weekly route. And that was like a job just reached out to him from Reddit and said, hey, do you want to write a route every week? And he's like, sure. And then Vitamin P joined shortly thereafter. I believe she met Jaw at BlizzCon in 2019 and said, you know, hey, I think Raider would be a great platform to do spotlights on players. And he said, that's great. Do you want to do them? And she said, sure. So the player spotlight program, which was basically the precursor to the featured streamer program, was Vitamin P. That was her baby, her brainchild. She created all that. She did all of it at the beginning. So all the players that had those first early player spotlights, that was all her. And so it was the 4 of them when I joined. And due to the fact that the company was small and just kind of added a person here, there wasn't much structure, right? There wasn't like hierarchy, there wasn't structure, there wasn't kind of departments and all that. And as kind of we added a couple more people here and there, I kind of like, it's like, okay, we could be more efficient, right? Like we could definitely do this better and kind of coordinate and communicate and organize better. And so I kind of started putting some stuff in place. I made sure it was okay with John. I didn't just like to start, bulldozering my way through the company. But then he liked kind of the stuff I was doing. And then in 2021, he asked me if I would become, I think at the time we called it the production manager. So I was just in charge of like content, to an extent, and events. And so I kind of just became like the supervisor of a couple things there in our social media. And then as the company grew, and we've grown a ton, like, so as I said, like 2020, I guess, I started in 2020.
Okay.
Am I getting my timeline confused? I think my timeline's confused. But 2020 is when I started.
We make it up as we go here.
Yeah, we make it up as we go. I started in 2020, because I just hit 3. No, you know what? Yes, because I just hit 3 years. My goodness.
Okay.
So, we started with like 4 or 5 people in 2020. We now have like 25.
Holy smokes.
So yeah, we've grown quite a bit. And, as things, sorry?
Where do I apply?
Raider.io. Actually, unfortunately, we don't have any open applications right now, but, and so we did all this stuff. And then I started kind of just, John would ask me for my input on a couple other things because my experience does kind of lend itself to, business management and that stuff. And so I was just kind of getting more and more involved. And then 2021, he said, I'm just going to make you general manager. I was like, nice. Okay. Sure. So 2021 is when I got promoted to general manager. And so that means that basically everything other than development, because I do not know how to do code. I am not a dev. And it is gobbledygook to me. We have specific dev channels, like we use Discord for work. That's our main platform. And we have dev channels and all the devs are in there talking and stuff like that. My contributions to those channels are GIFs and memes. And emojis. That is what I bring to the
Those
party.
Are valuable contributions.
I always apologize. Like, I'm sorry. I'm totally like interrupting. They're like, no, we need it. Please break up the monotony with like your stupid gifts. I'm like, I will do that. That is my contribution to the development side. Everything other than development is under my purview. So our social media, and we have a content manager. So VP is now actually the content manager. So she oversees the entire content team. So everyone who writes, who contributes to content, she's in charge. We have Pico, who is our events and community manager. So my role turned into events and community. And so now she's the events and community manager. Aceric is our social media manager. So those 3 oversee their own departments. And then I oversee all of them as well. So we do actually have like a hierarchy now, which is kind of a lot better for organization and structure and all that good stuff. But yeah, so that's basically how I got to be where I am. It's kind of a convoluted long story of I can't do this job anymore. Oh, hey, this job fell in my lap, and just kind of, worked hard and put the hours in, and Josh saw that the value that I like to think I bring to the company, and kind of went from there. And we've grown a lot, and I'm really, really proud of everyone who's made that happen at Raider.io.
That's what I was going to ask. How does it feel seeing that growth from a 4-person team to the megacorp that you are now?
Absolutely incredible. Yeah, we're a megacorp now. It's really something. We're also somewhat unique in the gaming and esports sense. Something not a lot of people know is we're a Black-owned business. So Jaw is African American. Our leadership team is half women. We have members of the LGBTQI2S+ community. We have so many different unique backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives, and that just makes us better. But I'm really proud of what we've achieved. And it's not like we're not a company that's like, oh, we need to be DEI, right? We value and appreciate and want DEI across the board, but it's more the fact that we just do it. because it's what's best for the company. And, you know, it's something that not a lot of people realize, that this is who Radar.io is. We are the World of Warcraft community, right? We look like you guys. We represent you. We are you. So that's kind of what is really awesome about the people making Radar.io happen.
Our diversity is our strength. That's a quote from somewhere. I don't know where.
I think it's a quote from a lot of places, but it makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. I think a lot of people say it. But yes, no, was it Obama? Is it Obama? It might have been Obama.
Obama?
Yeah, might have been. It is now. It is now Obama. But
That's
yes,
right. We just make it up as we go.
There we go. But yeah, honestly, it is our strength, because we'll be talking about something, brainstorming something, and someone will come in with a great, unique perspective that no one else would have thought about, because we don't have that life experience. You know, we haven't experienced what that person has, and this person, and you know, it happens across the board. And not only are we diverse, but we're around the world. So Radar.io is a fully remote company. We don't even have an office. So we're technically based in Texas. We have a handful of Americans. We've got a couple of Canadians. So myself, one of our main developers, is in Saskatchewan. Poor guy. I make fun of him a lot. I lived in Saskatchewan for 2 years. Yes. And you know, and then like Pico is in Germany. One of our coverage team. Our Race to World First coverage team is in Germany, the Netherlands, and Croatia. So that's our main coverage people. Coverage guys are from all over the world. Some of our developers are from France, Norway. We have Neo, who's our Chinese community liaison, who's obviously in China half the year, and just it's fantastic. I love it. Working with the time zones is a little tough. Because, you know, some people are, you know, it's that can be difficult, but we make it work.
Yeah. A lot of sesh.fyi, I think it is, or the Discord bot that automatically
oh yes, the time zone. Yes, we use that a lot. That is, or I'm the only one on the West Coast, so they refer to PST as Hula time. And I will admit, I do take some of the general manager privilege, and I've made it so a lot of our discussions just are in PST for my own benefit. The other one we use a lot of CST. That's where Jaw's based, is in CST. So, but yeah, I do like, yeah, guys, just use PST. We don't use CEST. The Europeans are on their own. They got to do their own conversions. Yeah.
Good luck,
they figure it out. I mean, they're good at it. They're used to it, but they got to figure that out.
That's funny. You recently had a big announcement with Blizzard.
Yes. So we are the new official partner for the tournament platform for both the MDI and the AWC. Yes, we are so excited about this. It was, you know, as you know, the MDI and AWC used game battles for a number of years, and game battles, I believe, went in a different direction. And so they came to us a while ago saying, this is actually something we've been talking to them for some time. As I'm sure you know, we've been involved in the MDI since the very beginning. We hosted the leaderboards for the initial time trials in 2017. You can actually find all the historical data from time trials on the website still. And so from then, we've always hosted the time trials and or proving grounds, whatever version they are, as well as any leaderboards and brackets for the MDI. And so it kind of was a natural fit for us to start also doing tournament registration and administration, what they would use game battles for. The toughest part of this has actually been accommodating AWC, because it had to be quite a bit of development and work, because we up until this point, like, we never took the PvP API. We don't expose any PvP information on the site, right? Like, there's no rating anywhere. That's going to change. We're going to start getting more PvP stuff on the site.
You should break that story?
I mean, it's hopefully, possibly. It's not a for sure thing yet, but this is the goal is the goal is for us to start expanding more into PvP now that we are, you know, we have a reason to start exposing this API and the PvP information. So we're hoping to get more into that. And obviously, being the host of the AWC now, like, you know, we want the site to be a place where the PvP players want to go to beyond just who's up next, right? Like, what's the bracket, who's signed up. We want them to just have reasons to go to Radar.io.
You'll be able to save on assets because you'll just need the icons for Rogue, Mage, and Priest, right?
Pretty much. And Windwalker apparently right now, I guess. Yeah. Windwalker, yes. So that's RMP rules the day. Always has. But so that's something that we're hopefully gonna get more into, is the PvP side of things. But yeah, so this has been a fantastic opportunity for us to be an official partner with Blizzard. So we've been developing since this has been in the works since before BlizzCon. So we've been developing. There were definitely developers on their laptops at BlizzCon, working on stuff. Unfortunately, I'm like, let's go have fun. They're like, I gotta work. Our development team is also very, very small. So when I say developers, I mean like 2 people. So we were working on that. And then during the last race for first, this was all still ongoing in the background. We were working really hard on getting the platform ready, because we announced it in December when the signups opened up. So the registration process for both AWC and MDI have been on Radar.io. And I think it's been going really well. We haven't had any negative feedback. We were really worried because the registration process is obviously different on Radar.io as it was on Game Battles. We like to think it's a little more intuitive and straightforward. Game Battles is a little confusing, and it did what it needed to do. But there were some when we went back and really delved into it, we're like, we could make some improvements. To specifically for MDI and AWC. Obviously, Game Battles was a platform that was just across so many games, right? So they kind of had to build a platform. We are in that really lucky position that being a World of Warcraft specific site, we can tailor this platform specifically for the MDI and AWC, which has been really nice. And we've been working with the WoW esports team, and the admins like, oh, can you do this? And I'm like, yeah, I guess we could probably do this. Just really kind of trying to accommodate all their wish list to make this the best platform that it can be. So the registration's been going well. There's a couple people that have like random support questions, but they're really easy to fix. Like, oh, hey, did you add your Discord tag? And they're like, oh, oops, no, okay, it all worked. But so far it seems like players have been able to register no problem. They've been getting through it. And then, so then now the administration of it is on the back end of Radar.io instead of Game Battles. So the actual esports admins will be running the show from there. And then we've always had those MDI brackets. I'm not sure if a lot of people are aware. So during the MDI, we have a bracket, right? And we track it live. So it shows like deaths, boss kills, split timers. You can click on it to go look at the players' gear, their talents, their specs, everything like that. So much information there. We have a timestamp VOD of that match. When you hover over it, you can click on a link on that. All of that is one person watching the MDI with a spreadsheet on another one.
No, it's not.
Every single, and when a death happens, you have to put in the timer. You have to, that was one of my jobs when I first started as events coordinator. We now have someone, Marv, he's dedicated to that. That is his task. Every
That's
MDI, he watches every minute of the MDI. And basically, so that way the bracket is legitimately live tracked, like to the second. And everything, all the information is in there. So we're now going to be able to do something similar for AWC. We'll be able to you can go to the AWC bracket on Radar.io, you can check out the gear, you can check out the VODs, you can check out the talents and specs and everything like that, and then follow the bracket through for AWC as well.
I already loved your website prior to this conversation. It's only going to get better. I can't wait.
Yeah, we're really excited.
Did you review the contract yourself, or did you hire another lawyer?
I did. I am essentially in-house counsel for Radar.io. I do all of our contracts. There's the odd thing that we do outsource to other firms where it's just something that's not my expertise or my specialty. But a lot of the contracts I do personally review. So it's we lucked out that way, and that way I'm able to review all the contracts for not just this but like other stuff too. So it does come in handy. Because, lawyers have turnaround, right? You send them a contract, you get it 3 weeks later, whereas John's like, hey, can you review this? I'm like, all right, just give me a couple hours. And so it's nice and efficient that we can do that. But
dude, this is the best. I love this story, this arc from history nerd to lawyer to hospital bed, laptoping to what am I going to do? This is great. I love it.
Oh, and you forgot professional esports competitor in there.
Yeah.
One MDI. I played in one MDI.
Nice.
Do you follow the MDI?
Oh yeah.
Have you ever heard of Angry Toast? The Atal Dazar snap that went round the world.
Yeah. Well,
the Razan snap.
Yeah, the one.
The angry toast snap.
I know it from Robin doing it.
Yes, we did it first.
You know what? I had him on the show and he mentioned that he had copied that snap from somebody else.
Yeah, so it was the team. We were Angry Toast. And the VOD is out there. Obviously, I can link it to you afterwards if you want. But it's actually a funny story. So this was BFA season 4, the first cup. Was it season 4? I think it was season 4. Yes, first cup. Season 4. I had done season 2 MDI. I didn't make it past, obviously, on the broadcast, but I had a team then. And I was like, you know what? Season 4, like, I loved season 4. Awakening was the best affix. It was so much fun. And I was like, I really want to actually put together a team. So I joined a team with Deswind, who is one of a top tier tank, absolutely. Mitt, he used to be on Method NA. So he was one of the top players. He was on at BlizzCon playing, right? So he joined the team, and then a couple of friends that I was playing with at the time in Temerity, Zuli and Spooky. And so we're like, let's make a team. And we worked hard. We went at it. I will admit, we came 10th in the time trials, in the Proving Grounds. Top 8 made it on, but we came 10th. And we were all kind of disappointed. And I will take a lot of ownership of us not making the top 8 because this was season 4, and Mistweaver you had to play Mistweaver or you were not going to compete. I had never played a monk before, let alone Mistweaver. I was brand new to it, and I was essentially thrown into the deep end where they're like, you need to learn how to play Mistweaver at an MDI level in 3 days. Because that's how long we had it on the TR, right? And so I didn't get it within the first 3 days. One of our dungeons, the 2 time trial dungeons, we did one of them as me on a paladin. Because I was like, I can't keep us alive on the monk. I just can't. I don't know what it was, but we on the last day before, or like the last day of the time trials, it clicked. It just clicked for me. And I was like, I got this now, right? Like, let's go. We didn't have time to redo the other dungeon. So unfortunately we came 10th. But at that point I was like, I'm confident. Like I got this, right? And so we came 10th. We were all really disappointed because we were really hoping to make top 8. And then the Wednesday before the broadcast, which starts on Friday, we get a message from Healing Stat saying, hey, 2 teams have dropped out. You're in. And so we're like, excuse me? And this is Wednesday night. So we had like Thursday to maybe prep, but people were working. We didn't have time. And we were able to find just a couple hours on Thursday to prep. And then Friday, like game time, right? And so we're like, okay, we're going to lose. Our first game was against Method NA because we were the 8th seed. We played against the 1st seed. And we realized like we're toast, right? We have no chance. We've had no prep time, no like nothing. And so Deswind was like, I have a cool idea. How about, since we're just going to go down, let's go down swinging, right? Let's make a splash. He's like, I've got a cool idea for a snap, for a strat. We just spent our practice hours, 3 to 4 hours, just practicing this one pull. And it was the first pull of a Tal'Dazar, where Deswind, Spooky, who was playing the rogue, he would tricks him. And then Deswind would run to the left at the very beginning. So he would grab all the trash on the top left corner. So those giant colossi, all of that trash there, he would grab all of that. And then before tricks ran out, Spooky would tag Razan. And it would then snap the tank and all of the trash right on top of Razan. And it was a very technical pull, especially for me as the Mistweaver. So we had to jump down, and then I had to, you know how there's like those kind of like little jut out staircases along the lines. So I would have to put my little transcendence thingy. I forget what it's called. I don't play monk anymore.
It's called transcendence.
Okay, so I would have to put it around the corner, and then we would have to make sure we pull the boss out of line of sight of that. And so we would pull the boss, and then we had 2 unholy DKs, so just right, like all that, and then exponential everything, quadratic scaling across the board. And so they would do all the crazy stuff there, all the damage. It was bolstering too, so the 2 colossi were massive. You couldn't, like, your screen was full of these things. And then, so my job was, of course, to keep everyone alive, which during Way of the Crane, easy mode, after that falls, stressful as could be. And then most importantly, I had to make sure that I rolled back into line of sight of my transcendence right before the fear. Transcendent, use the transcendent, so I'm out of line of sight of the fear. They all get feared. I roll back, revival it off them. If I didn't do that in like split-second timing, someone died. And during practice, it was a very technical pull. During practice, we pulled this off, I want to say maybe 20% of the time.
Holy smokes.
Luckily, we pulled it off on broadcast.
Yeah.
We did pull off on broadcast, and it was, we messaged the esports team because I was friends with some of them. I said, hey, make sure the casters are paying attention to us for this first pull. And they're like, why? And I'm like, just make sure.
They can turn us off after.
Yeah, we're doing, oh my God, the rest of that dungeon, we played horribly. So many mistakes. We fell off the middle part like multiple times. We wiped on the very next pull, which we should. Anyways, we lost that dungeon, needless to say. So but we're like, just watch the first pull. And so, if you go back to the VOD, the caster's like, so we've been told that Angry Toast is going to do something special here. So we're going to watch. And then it's really fun to go back and watch because the casters were like shocked. They did not see this coming. They're like, what is this? Right. And it was so much fun. And since then, it's kind of gone down in infamy as the Angry Toast strat. And even today when snapping, the developers kind of made us so snapping isn't as much of a thing in the game anymore, but whenever it comes up on MDI broadcast and they're like, what is snapping, right? Because it's not so much a thing anymore. They sometimes have to explain the concept. They will literally just bring up the Angry Toast strat because it was kind of the preemptory, big snapping pull. So that is my little claim to fame. My MDI moment of fame. My team did not continue playing after that. I was a little disappointed because I was like, guys, I got the monk now. Like, we can do it. I figured it out. But they didn't want to keep going unless it was like guaranteed we're going to make it to broadcast.
The awakened mobs and motherhood.
Yeah. And so no, it was so much fun being part of that. So I'm the Mistweaver in that pull. I named my character Hula-di-da for some reason. I don't know what I was thinking because it has to be like everything's hula, right? So I had like my different characters are like Hulahoops, Hula Shoots, Hula Hoots was the druid I made. And then I was like, and then the rogue was Hooligan. The demon hair was Hula Blades. And then I was like, what do I name the monk? I'm like, Hula-di-da, I guess. I couldn't think of anything monk related. So
really, no one's ever going to see this name anyway.
No, God, no. But at least it was a lot of fun. And we lost every single match. So we lost both dungeons against Method. And then we lost both dungeons against the other team. The other dungeon we played, it's funny because, like, as I said, we knew we were going to lose, right? And so we had Mechagon Workshop was one of our first dungeons. And we decided, let's just have some fun. So we played Shadow Priest, Holy Paladin, which, like, you just did not see at this point. Because we just wanted to have fun. And the casters are trying to figure out what our crazy strat is. Like, oh, maybe they're going to mind control. Like, maybe they've got some crazy tech they're going to bring out. Like, no, we just know we're going to lose. So we figured, let's have some fun. So this is what I'm trying to figure out. It's kind of funny. But we ended up coming 8th, obviously. And that was the end of my MDI career. There's been a couple times where I miss it, where I want to try again, but I'm not allowed to play anymore.
Oh, because of the company.
I get all the affix and dungeon information ahead of time as part of us preparing in each season. And especially now that we are official partners, like we are privy to a lot of information ahead of time. Right. So now I have a team that we were called Agitated Toast. Now we are no longer Angry Toast. We are now Agitated Toast that I play with to get the banner every season. And it's myself, Pico, who also would not be eligible to compete because she gets the information too. Sierra, who is an ex-MDI champion, who is on the admin team for About Esports, so he's not allowed to play. And a couple of our friends. Every season we spend an hour, we go do the 2:15s, we get our banner. That is one of the most fun times I have playing this game right now. Is that hour once a season with this group. We just have the best time. Normally it's because since I don't play retail anymore, normally it's me going, what is this do? Freaking out, jumping into stuff. And I'm usually on a demon hunter, so I'm just fell rushing through everything, getting hit by everything. And they're like, could you stop? Like, absolutely not. But so it's
doing the things.
Yeah. And Cybear is another one that we play with a lot on that group, and Faithy from Method and Ace. And it's so much fun. We have the greatest time. Just being just shenanigans. It's just shenanigans. So it's
I
a lot
love
of
it.
fun.
All right, Hulu, you've got MDI dominance. We're going to call it that. You've got
Sure.
Raider.io. You're a lawyer. You're a history buff. That's not all. You also are you one of the founding members? Is that right?
Yes.
I'm going to say founding members. I think you are.
Yes, I am.
One of the founding members of the Women in Warcraft community. How did that happen?
So that's pretty straightforward, actually. So when Team Liquid acquired Limit, the guild, Team Liquid has always been an org that is proud of their DEI initiatives. They have an entire department dedicated to it, and when they brought Limit over, this was their first foray into World of Warcraft, and the leadership at Team Liquid kind of looked at the state of World of Warcraft and like, where are all the women? Where are all the women? The entire guild is all men. Everyone involved in all the other guilds are all men. The competitive teams, all men. Excuse me for the hiccups. But so they're like, where are the women? And at the time, the general manager of Limit and then Team Liquid was Azoria. And she was in charge of a lot of stuff there. And they kind of, went to her like, what's up? Like, what is up with World of Warcraft where there's literally no women involved? And she's like, yeah, welcome to WoW. This is kind of how it's always been. And they said, we should do something. So before it was even announced that they were acquiring Limit, they tasked her. They said, part of bringing the guild into Team Liquid, we want to create an initiative that will increase the representation of women and gender minorities in this game, especially at the high end. They're like, we want the ultimate goal when this initiative was tasked, the ultimate goal was to create an initiative that would organically result in women on the guild, on the raiding roster. And so they told Azoria, this is your task. And she's like, okay. Like, somehow make a situation where women are raiding for Race the World first, where it's not a token situation, where they're not there just because they're women, because like they've gone through the rigor, the rigmarole to be there. Don't get me wrong, there are absolutely women who are good enough. There's tons of them. We're seeing more and more now. People are starting to realize, oh yeah, hey, women kick ass at this game. And, but we needed the world to see that. And so, so she was tasked with this kind of almost impossible task of get it to a situation where this happens. And so I'd been friends with Azoria for a long time, and she knew that I had always been a big advocate for women in the competitive scene. I was one of the, I think to date, you can still count on your fingers how many women have competed in the MDI at the broadcast level. We're getting more, but there's still very few, and I was one of them. And during my kind of 1 year off of work, this is actually how I got into Raider's. Vitamin P was a good friend of mine even before I started working here. And together, she and I actually created a community called the Defy Sisterhood. And the goal of this community was just to, we had a little banner. Our logo was a bandit with like really cool hair and all that stuff. It was a lot of fun. It was a great community. It was kind of, I almost feel like in a way, a precursor to Women in Warcraft. And we created this community, and it was awesome. Like, we had a lot of great people in there. And the whole point was we need a safe space to just exist, to talk about the stuff that we are all experiencing as women and gender minorities in this game, but also to just talk about Warcraft, find people to play with, find people to improve with. And so Zoria knew that I had been doing this. We'd known each other for a while now, and she reached out to me. And I'd been at Raider.io for a year at this point, and we had been working together for the other stuff when she was with Limit, and she said, I've been tasked with this initiative by Team Liquid, this impossible task.
Hey, Team Liquid wants me to make Warcraft okay for women.
Yeah, basically that's what they said. Like, can you just make it like great for women? And she's like, sure. And so she reached out to me and said, would you be interested in being a part of this? And at the time, she had one other person on board, which is Kat, Go Gadget Kat, who I didn't know yet, but met her through this, and now she's one of my favorite people in the world. So it was the three of us to start, and our initial talks started taking place, I think, December 2021, and that was like not even a real meeting. It was just three of us chatting and being like, how are we going to do this, right? And so early 2022 is when we kind of first started, and we brought on Ferris, So the four of us, so Azoria, myself, Kat, and Ferris are the founding members of Women of Warcraft. Ferris was a really great choice to bring onto the initial leadership council. And she now works for WoW Esports as well. So she has a lot of really great insight. And so the four of us together were like, let's figure something out. And so we kind of created this initiative, and we decided, early on, we had to identify the problems. Right. In order to achieve a solution.
Problems are men.
Yeah. And some women, let's be honest.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
That is, it's definitely some women. There's internalized misogyny is something that comes up a lot, actually, in discussions. And so we're like, okay, how do we do this? And we're like, we need to take it step by step. Let's identify the problems. And we realized that the problems, the top guilds. So we're talking Liquid, Echo, Method, the Installers, the guilds that are literally going for like top 10. They do not care what your gender identity is.
Right.
They don't give a fuck. They really don't.
Are you good at this game?
Yes. Can you play? Can you help us win? That is all we care about.
Hours.
Exactly. That is literally all they care about, because this is a business for them. This is their job. They don't care about the petty bullshit that happens and all that good stuff, bad stuff. We identified that there's this bubble of like top 10 to like top 200, or not even 200, top 10 to top 100, right? Where that is where you get this horrible toxicity. The idea that girls suck, girls can't play, or girls cause drama. No chicks allowed, right? Like, those guilds exist, and there's a lot of them, and a lot of them are in that bubble. But the unfortunate part is, and it's unfortunate for these top guilds, that bubble is their recruiting field. They're not going to go to a top 200 guild to grab someone. They want to know that you've been able to do top 20, top 15. You can put in the hours during release. Like, you've proven yourself. And so we realized we need to make it easier and better for women to get into those guilds and stay in those guilds. So we need to, help women get there and make those places better for them. So we decided initially to start, we kind of had a couple prongs of attack, if you will. One is programs. And so we created the mentorship program and the approved guild program. The mentorship program was a really big one, and it's seen massive success. The whole idea here is, we also identified that a lot of women who are in these guilds or trying to get into these guilds, they will ask their current guilds for help and won't get it. Like, they're actively saying, I want to get better, and they will just get made fun of. And it's a really tough situation. So we're like, we need to make a way for these women to achieve the goals that they want. And when I say women, I do mean all gender minorities, like marginalized genders. It's all under the same banner, because we do not, whatever your gender identity is, you're welcome with Women of Warcraft. And so, we realized, okay, like, let's find a place where these women can get better, can improve. And this is down to like log review, rotation review, UI review, week wars, like, just what are the little nitty gritty things we can do? And we have seen so many people improve their gameplay, get into better guilds, and improve their rankings. It's incredible. And it's not that these women aren't good enough or aren't willing to put in the effort and the work. They've just never had a place or an environment that's welcoming to them to help them. So the mentorship program, that was the initial goal, and it has been a rousing success. The other one was the approved guild program. So as I said, one part of this was getting the women into these guilds, and the other part is making these guilds accept women. So we created the approved guild program, which is basically a program where if your guild adheres to our values and standards, has at least one woman or gender minority in leadership, is willing to implement a code of conduct and enforce said code of conduct for its players, we will vouch for you. And that vouch also includes, on Radar.io, our recruitment system, there's a separate tag and logo for guilds that have this vouch. So it's still the Liquid Women of Warcraft approved guilds. That'll change, obviously. But so, basically we're saying that we have we do a lot of vetting. The application process takes a long time because we put a lot of effort in to the best of our ability, right? We're not doing like official background checks, but we watch streams, we talk to people, we look at social media, we do the best we can to make sure that this is actually a safe space. And when people come to us with complaints saying that this guild is an approved guild and they are not acting properly, we will take off their status. We'll investigate. We don't do it. We will investigate everything. And so the whole idea is that these guilds have been named approved guilds, and so that helps their recruitment. It helps them. It helps people understand that this is the kind of guild I want to be in, right? It also helps the people who shouldn't be in those guilds know maybe don't apply to that guild because you're not welcome there because you're toxic. And so it really
people, you give them a lot of credit that they would be smart enough to know I'm not welcome here. A lot of them think I'm a god at this game.
Yeah,
you're actually just aggressively mid.
But, you should just be grateful that I'm even applying for your guild type thing. Yeah, those types exist. But yeah, so that's kind of the two prongs that we decided to take in these programs: is get the women into these better guilds in this bubble, and make those guilds a safe place for them to be in. So we've seen some success there for sure. And then the other stuff we decided, let's educational content. So we've done workshops like how to use Warcraft logs, how to use questionably epic, how to use the tools that are available to you to get better at this game, to be more competitive in the game. How do you use them? And like everyone who's put on one of these workshops has been a volunteer. They have taken their time to do this, to just help. And the VODs are all available in the Discord. And, they're really, really great informative tools. We've done a couple of roundtable events where we've just had people like Aya, Callie, Nagura talk about their experiences at the top level, the racial first, either casting, playing, just how they got there, because those women have achieved what everyone is looking to achieve. They've reached the top echelons of the game, either be it in casting or in gameplay. And so we've been able to have, some talks there, and we've talked about, various things like how to get into esports, like how everyone loves esports and so many people want to work in esports, but there's no manual on how to do it. And a lot of people, there's roles in esports that people don't know exist. So we tried to highlight some of those, a lot of the behind the scenes stuff like production, administration of events, organizing events, all that kind of stuff. And so we've put on some workshops and seminars about that. A lot of educational content that I'm personally really proud of. I think we've put out some really good stuff. And then casting workshops and other various things like that. So, the stuff we've been able to do is really exciting. And most importantly, beyond the programs, beyond the workshops and the seminars. I should also mention the events. We've been part of the 2 EVE Ascension tournaments, which to me has been an amazing way for women and gender minorities to get a taste of competition. So many of them don't even try or bother because they can't find teams that will accept them. They just get put down the whole time. It's a toxic environment. But a competitive environment with a real prize pool, like they are playing for money. This is not just, for fun. There is competition, and these women fight. They put in the time, the effort. They absolutely, they are theory crafting out the wazoo. And they put in the effort, and being able to see, and the way the tournament has evolved, the last iteration was really phenomenal, and we're excited to hopefully keep it going in some way, shape, or form. And my goal for these events has been to get women to understand what it takes to be competitive, to realize they can be competitive, they can achieve this, they can be amongst the best players in MDI in the world. I want to see these women in the MDI one day. I want to see them on broadcast. I want to see them hoisting trophies at BlizzCon, right? That's what I want to see. And I know that being able to put on tournaments like EVE Ascension and have the programs that we have is how we get there. But sorry, and like I was saying, little tangent, I do that a lot. The most important thing that Women in Warcraft has achieved is the community itself. When it was first announced not too long ago that unfortunately Team Liquid is restructuring a lot of their DEI initiatives and a lot of kind of how they're approaching a lot of the stuff, they informed us last year that we were to be sunsetting the Liquid Women initiative and all of its programs. And that was heartbreaking. I won't lie. Because, like I said, of just how much good we've done. When we announced that, the responses from the community members, there were so many questions of the Discord's still going to exist, right? Like, we're still here. The community is still going to exist, right? Even if the programs don't exist, will this community exist? And we said, absolutely. Even if it's just a Discord where we just are a community, this will exist. And so many people, that was the most important thing, because they said, we have had people who have said that this community has literally saved their life. People who have been in really tough places, and having a community of like-minded people to feel safe, to be able to express themselves without fear of recrimination. We've had people tell us that this community has literally saved their life. People who gave up on playing WoW are now back in it, and they're loving it because they have a place to enjoy it. Or people who, were playing all this time, but they never got to where they wanted to be. They were always, just downtrodden. It's like, oh, I just wish I could get like a 99 parse, right? Like, I wish I could be in a better guild. I wish I could kill a mythic boss, right? And with this community, they've been able to achieve those things. The discussion channels, just if you ever just go in there and take a look, like it's just people who really have love for each other, and who want to uplift and support each other. And that is the most important thing. We are all lifting each other up, and we only get higher together. So that sounded like such a line.
No, that was a great line, though. It's a great line. It breaks my heart that a community like Women in Warcraft needs to exist. I struggle almost daily with the way people treat each other. I'm not a huge fan of humanity. I am of humanity, but not of the way that humanity is. But I am so glad that it does exist, and that it has people like yourself and Aya and so many others that are just incredible in there. Because it's bullshit that you have to play better, be better, put up with so much more. Like, it's not, there should no be, we had MZ on the show, and she was like, yeah, I was in a couple guilds, and it was just not great experiences, but it's what I had to do to get to where I am. And it's like, you shouldn't have to do that. That's
it's a slog. It literally is. Like, I liken that ranking of guilds to get to the top. It is an absolute slog. You are going through a bog. It's like Frodo, Samwise, and Gollum getting through the bog to get to Mount Doom. Actually, I shouldn't equate Mount Doom. No, because
they think that's cool. These fucking people think they're, oh yeah, man, I'm the melt of Sauron. My fucking lips are all rotted. No, you see his teeth. I'm great. Like, I hate these people. Anyway.
No, I know what you mean. I should also mention that, so I did talk about the four of us that founded Liquid Women. Unfortunately, Azoria was at some point she was no longer with Team Liquid, so she was no longer part of Liquid Women. And one of our committee members, who Azoria had mentioned we should absolutely get her on the committee, which is kind of like our next step down in leadership, was a dean. So she joined as a committee member at the very beginning, like before we even launched, and she just put everything into it. She put her whole heart into the initiative, and then she was also working for Team Liquid at the time. And so when Azoria left, Team Liquid's like, okay, well, we need to appoint a new leader. Because while the four of us were the council, Azoria was the leader. Because myself and Ferris, we don't have a professional relationship with Team Liquid. In that sense, like, we aren't contracted by them. Like, I have a professional relationship with them through Radar.io. We work with them a lot of stuff, but I don't work for Team Liquid. So they're like, we need someone who works for Team Liquid in charge of this initiative, and a dean was the obvious choice. So now the council is myself, Kat, Ferris, and a dean, and we work really well together. So I just wanted to give Adina a quick shout out, because she has done tremendous work.
We stand Adine. We've also had her on the show. I've had a lot of the Women in Warcraft people on the show.
You make good choices. Let's put it that way.
That's right. I do.
And so Adine has done tremendous stuff. But everyone really has, and it's crazy. So Kat, who's also one of the other founding members, she puts in so much time into this initiative.
Message her for season 5.
Absolutely. No, you should. Absolutely. Kat is incredible. And she also works at Radar.io now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I think I want to say sometime last year. No, I believe it was the Avarice Race Real First is what I want to say. We, in Vault of the Incarnates, Radar.io started a Race Real First daily recap video. So for listeners who aren't aware, we've kept this going. Every single morning of a Race Roll First, we have a video. And it is a recap of everything that happened the day before. They're usually like between 3 and 8 minutes long, so it's a really succinct way to just get caught up on everything that's happening. our social media manager, Dylan, is Aceric is the voice, the face of our videos, and they're funny, they're entertaining. He does a lot of great work there. We did it in Vault, and then going into Avarice, realized we need another person to help with this because it was the coverage team that was taking time away from doing coverage to write the scripts and compile all the clips and doing all this work. So we were looking for someone to come in with the main goal of their role being to basically create the scripts and compile everything throughout the day for these videos to then hand off to Aceric to create the video itself. We're like, we need another person. And through Women in Warcraft, I knew that Kat was a really talented writer. She's very smart and very clever, and she had written a lot of stuff for us throughout building the initiative. And I was like, she's got a really good head on her shoulders. So I asked her, would she be interested in this role? Because I knew she was also available for, part-time, just hourly kind of remote work. And she jumped at it. She did a great job. And so, but then after that, we were like, hey, do you have any interest in maybe kind of getting involved in content? And now she's Vitamin P is still our chief editor as content manager, but Kat edits everything else. So she's an editor. She's also creating her own content. She's created a series at Radio called Rating 101.
Great series.
Yes, it's fantastic. So we actually, the series existed before her, but there was like a couple pieces in it. She took it and ran with it. And she's been using
one yesterday.
Yes.
Clicks.
Yeah. And she's been leading a successful Mythic guild for like 9 or 10 years or something. She has a ton of great experience with these kinds of issues that come up as a guild leader that people don't really expect. So this series has been really, really great. And she's been able to create that. And she's part of the team now. She's a part of the Radio team. And it's great that just being introduced to her through World of Warcraft created that relationship. So you definitely need to get her on. She's fantastic.
If you ever need a 14-year veteran of the Navy,
can you write video scripts?
I can.
No, that's unfortunately Kat's job. But no, it was really awesome. Yeah, no, it's really awesome how those kind of relationships flourished from there. But
I love it.
Yeah, so Women in Warcraft, we as I said, we did get told by TL that they're going to sunset the initiative, and we were kind of put on hold. Like we were in limbo for quite a while because they didn't say they're getting rid of it. They said they're restructuring. And I took that personally to mean that they had seen the success that we'd had as an initiative, and they wanted to apply it across the board by either creating separate initiatives in their other games or one kind of larger initiative that takes a lot of these, aspects of Women in Warcraft and tries to create something larger across all of Team Liquid, which is great. If they're going to do that, fantastic. But that's not something you just do in a day. So there's a lot of decision making and then making it happen. So in the meantime, we were put on hold. And we realized that the community, if we didn't keep it going, if we didn't maintain the programs and the community itself, if down the road, 6 months later, Team Liquid's like, yeah, we're bringing it back, we would have lost so much momentum. And people would have left. We wouldn't have been doing events because, we require a little bit of funding to run stuff, right? Without those resources, like everything comes to a halt. And so as a council, we kind of came together and said, we don't want this to stop. We want to continue growing because we've only seen growth since the beginning. And we don't want this to stagnate. We want to keep our momentum going. How do we do this? And so with a couple of our committee members, I want to shout them out. Brock was one, Rizzle and Bella. They have put in a ton of effort and time into helping mostly Kat kind of figure out a way forward. And together as a group, we put together a proposal for Team Liquid saying, we really appreciate everything you've done for us. We understand the situation right now. We understand that if the initiative is picked back up, there was no guarantee of that. If it's picked back up, we know it'll be a long time. We think it would be a big detriment to the initiative. Can we take it independent?
Mm-hmm.
That is the question we had been waiting to hear back on for quite a while.
They answered right away.
It took a while. And which is fine, because it was over the holidays, and we understand like they're a large corporation. It's not just one person who makes a decision. They have to set meetings and they have to go back and forth, and we get it. It was just unfortunate that it took so long. They finally did get back to us, I think, a week ago. Yeah, it was literally a week ago. We had a meeting with the VP of People and Culture, and she said, we absolutely understand your proposal and what you want to do with this, and we support it. So 1 week ago today, we got permission to take Women of Warcraft independent. So now we are currently in the situation of rebranding, because obviously part of this is we can no longer be affiliated with Team Liquid. So we're removing all
Women in Warcraft.
Yes. So currently we're going by the name Women of Warcraft, but we did obviously realize this is a great opportunity to rebrand. The name has always been a little problematic because the initiative is for all women and all gender minorities, and honestly all marginalized peoples generally. And the name is too narrow. It makes it seem like it's only for women. It makes it seem like, there were a lot of people who just based on the name thought we didn't welcome trans women. And that's absolutely not the case. Like all trans women are women. Absolutely. And, or we didn't accept people who are non-binary or, and like, no, this is for everyone. And so the name always just didn't hit right. It was really tough because we had some certain parameters that had to be named. We had to have the word liquid. We had to have Warcraft. What else do we call it? So we've had actually like something that the community, we've had a forum post since the very beginning, like, hey, give us your ideas. What can we rename this? So this is an opportunity for us to change the name to something that we think is much more fitting for what we're trying to achieve. We have picked the name. I can't say what it is yet because we haven't officially announced it.
I'm going to throw my hat in the ring for Spectre. I know you've already chosen, and I know it may not be Spectre, but you should really reconsider it.
Isn't Spectre the name of a really awesome movie on Netflix?
It might be, but it's the name of the special ops team from Mass Effect.
Oh, okay.
Amanda
So
Shepard
yeah, it
is
is a cool
Spectre,
name. I will admit.
She's one of the best, one of the most iconic women in gaming. So.
Yes. Okay. Yes, you are correct. Check out the movie though if you haven't. It's spelled Spectre.
Okay.
Really good movie on Netflix actually. I've watched it a few times. But anyway, so we have picked a very cool name and we're very happy about it. What it communicates as a name. Okay. So, but we just be prepared for that reveal hopefully soon. But
I'm excited.
Yeah, and so we're currently in a situation of getting together everything that we want to do, our goals for the year, and we're creating a proposal that we're going to be sending out to other organizations saying like, will you partner with us? Will you support us? Because we do need funding to make our things happen. So that's kind of where we're at. A lot of work ahead, but it's worth it.
I love it. MDI, AWC, Radar.io, lawyering still. In line to watch Napoleon, I guess. It's a history movie.
Yeah. Actually, I haven't watched Napoleon yet.
Okay.
When I watched the previews, I couldn't really tell, but does he have an English accent in the movie?
Yeah. I know.
I just... I know that's the go-to for Hollywood for historical movies is everyone's British, but... It's
just if he's French, he sounds like Snidely Whiplash, and it's...
I mean, he's actually... Isn't he Corsican?
I think so, yeah.
Which was French, essentially... he was speaking French. The man was...
100%.
Why does he have a British accent? Anyways.
What does the future hold for Hula Hoops?
The future for Hula Hoops, oh my goodness. Way more events coming up that we're working on and I'm super excited about that are hopefully coming up. BlizzCon. So last year was the first BlizzCon since 2019. We were there. So we had a Radar presence there. We were handing out merch. We also got together with Warcraft Logs, Wowhead, and Raidbots and put on a party. So it was a ton of fun. And we're hoping to do something like that a little bigger so we can invite more people because obviously there was max capacity. So we had to create a bit of an exclusive list. I feel so bad because I had to turn away people to the party. Because they were messaging me like, hey, is there any room? I'm like, no, I'm sorry, we're full.
We're full.
I felt
you can't sit with us.
So yeah, it was basically a Mean Girls moment. It felt so bad having to tell people no, because obviously we just want everyone that wants to be there, but there was a venue, they no more than 180 people or whatever.
On Wednesdays we wear orange.
Yeah. we wear our Radar shirts.
Yeah.
And so BlizzCon was so much fun as a team. Actually, the funny part is, so I've been with Radar for just over 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
BlizzCon this past November was the first time I'd ever met anyone on my team in real life, including my boss. My boss, John, who I speak to probably every single day and have talked to more days than not for the last 3 years. I'd never actually met him in person before.
Oh, that's great.
So it was a really awesome experience. And team bonding. You say it, but we really did. Like actually getting to be together. We had so much fun. I know that we've just gotten stronger by actually having that time to be together. It was just the best time. I did. So I'd been to BlizzCon before in 2019. That was my first one. I'd been wanting to go since forever, and it just never worked out. Either time, money. I was in school. I just could never go. 2019. Finally, I'm like, I'm going. Okay, I'm going. Right. Like I'm making it happen. I went, had the best time with a bunch of my friends, and just had the greatest time. I was like, I'm going to every BlizzCon ever now. COVID. Yeah, exactly. So this was a really special one to be able to go to. Now that I am a part of Raider.io and being able to be there, we met so many people from the community because we kind of set up near the Darkwind Fair, and we called it our little merch perch. So we had a little area that was like a fake rock that we just threw a bunch of our merch on, and we were sitting there and people came by, like, hey, do you want a shirt? Do you want this? And all this stuff, and just giving away stuff. And people would just come. We also tweeted like, hey, come find us, and then people would just run to us, come find us, like, you guys are Raider.io. And being able to meet so many people from the community was fantastic, especially because back in 2019, 2018, there was a lot of sentiment that Raider.io was not a good thing. People thought because of the score. Because so the Mythic Plus score that's in the game, we created that.
Like the problem is the people, not the numbers.
Almost. What do you know? And so, that was obvious, but that was a thing where people would blame Raider.io for ruining the game. Like, why'd you have to make a score? And people won't take me because I don't have a score. And it's make your own key. Anyways, those conversations have been around forever. So, Jaw had memories of like 2019 of people being great, but some people being like, oh, Raider.io sucks, like all this stuff. That sentiment is gone. People just love us. Because since then we've done so much more. We give back to the community wherever we can. Like we support a lot of charitable causes, and we just really try to create features and services. We're constantly innovating, constantly creating new stuff just to make everyone's gameplay experience better, and not just gameplay, but we try to make it better for everyone to be a part of the World of Warcraft community. So that is kind of always in our mind. How can we make this experience better for people? So people were really happy to see us, and I got to meet so many people. Actually, I was standing there during one of the days, and someone walked by and they said, Hula. And I said, yeah, hi. It was two people that I used to raid with back in Throne of Thunder.
What?
Throne of Thunder. Like that. How many years is that now?
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, one of them was actually still in my BNet. And I was like, oh, right, I should talk to you every now and then. And like, this was a group of friends that like we did everything. At that point, we're in a guild together. We played League together. We did everything. And so great to see them. And then another group, I was at Hilton one night and I get a tap on the shoulder. I was like, Hula. And I was like, hi. And it's like, hey, it's Moose. And it was two guys that I played with back in Eye of Ashara. So another long raid. And I was like, how did you know it was me? And I realized I have one of those WoW esports jackets they sent to the partners. It literally says Hulahoops across the back. I was like, how'd you know it was me? They're like, your jacket literally has your name on you. And I was like, oh, that's a good point. So yeah, I got to see them and meet them that I haven't spoken to in years, and it was just such a great experience. So, next BlizzCon, same thing, where that's coming up in the future. Otherwise, just trying to constantly create better things, do more for the community, and that's pretty much where it is. I don't personally, things are good. Hopefully. Like, I said, I live in Vancouver. One day, my husband and I will buy a house. Maybe one day. But yeah, other than that, it's just us and the two cats. And, hanging out with my family, my niece and nephew. So.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but I have to tell you about this season's sponsor. Everember Creative is a studio and agency dedicated to making life easier for streamers. They've helped me shape Recruit a Friend through brand design, video editing, and social media management. But they do so much more than that. Literally anything you need. If you're looking for a team capable of diving deep to help you achieve your goals, however big or small, call them. Also, they're fairly tolerable human beings. Everember Creative. Content ignited. Cool.
Yeah.
I love it. This episode has warmed my heart a couple of times. So I'm really glad that we did this. We end every episode with 10 questions. And if you are ready...
I am so ready. Is this rapid fire or?
Yeah, rapid fire.
Okay.
I don't know if you watched Inside the Actor Studio.
Yes.
From years ago. It's just like that. That's just like those 10 questions.
Can I give more than one answer?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. It's your show.
All right. I'm so ready. I'm like sitting up straight. I got this.
Right,
I'm ready.
Go. Question number 1. What is your favorite word?
Rutabaga.
Oh, okay.
It's just fun to say. I hate rutabagas, but I love the word.
Yeah, rutabaga. We'll take it. Question number 2. What is your least favorite word?
Moist.
What? Did you not like David Usher growing up in Canada in the 90s?
What? Horrible word.
Question number 3. What sound or noise do you love?
My cat's purring, meowing, or chittering.
What's chittering?
The birds. Okay. Yeah, that's a chitter.
Question number 4. What sound or noise do you hate?
Nails on chalkboard or teeth on paper.
Excellent. Yeah, my dog is barking at me. You need to stop.
Well, hi, kitty.
Question number 5. What is your favorite dungeon?
This was a tough one to prep. My favorite dungeon probably Taldazar, based on the memories from MDI. But Court of Stars and Magister's Terrace are the other two that made the list.
So good. I remember getting that white Hawkstrider back in the day.
Yes.
And just being so happy. I love that dungeon.
Yep.
Question number 6. What is your least favorite dungeon?
Archway, Seat of the Triumvirate, and the Oculus.
Excellent choices.
Those
Excellent
suck.
choices.
I hate them.
Yeah. They don't suck. They're just not as good. No, they suck.
Archway sucks.
Question number 7. What is your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
Easy answer.
It is in my lexicon constantly.
Question number 8. What is your favorite raid?
Nighthold and ICC are tied.
Ooh, yeah. Good choices. Question the transmog. I just have to sidebar here. The transmog in Nighthold. I'm a Blood Elf fan. The transmog is so good. It all fits Blood Elves. It's just... question number 9. What is your least favorite raid?
Tomb of Sargeras.
Oh.
Hated it.
Really?
Fallen out. So Tomb of Sargeras, I'll explain a little bit. Tomb of Sargeras was to me one of the first raids where they really started implementing mechanics where if one person makes one small mistake, it is an instant raid wipe.
Dude, and have you fought Tindril? Tindril is like fucking every mechanic is one person fucks it up.
And I hate those mechanics because I'm a healer main. Like I do play DPS and stuff, but I'm a healer main. I want the opportunity to overcome someone's mistake. I want to be able to, like, it shouldn't be easy. We should have to work our asses off to make up for it. But it shouldn't just be an instant wipe. Give us the chance to come together and fix the mistake. That is, especially as a healer, like, give me a chance to just keep everyone alive instead of just, like, Maiden was horrible in that for that reason in Tomb. Fallen Avatar was a horrendous fight to heal. I hated it. And then, TTU, Kill Jaden, rather, was just, it was super buggy and it had so many of those mechanics. I think I got US 32nd that year. With my guild in Tomb. So as you can imagine, it was a lot of raiding in a raid that I did not enjoy. So just no thanks.
Question number 10. All those are excellent reasons to hate that raid. Question number 10. If Azeroth was real, where would you call home?
I would build a house on one of the floating islands in Nagrand.
Nagrand is my choice.
Really?
Yeah, you're the only other person. This is, I don't know how many episodes now. We're season 4. So this is like the 40th-ish person. No one else has said Nagrand. Everybody else always, I'm like,
I love Nagrand. It's beautiful. I have a really sappy story why. I met my husband in World of Warcraft.
Oh.
We met in the original Wrath. He was Alliance, I was Horde. But then he had friends in my guild. He was like the best hunter on the server. This is back when servers, like, you knew your server, right? There were server forums, and there was, on Crush Ridge, there was a bounty system. So if you were able to kill someone on the bounty, you won some gold. He was always on the bounty list. I was not, because no. But then the best hunter on Horde side was in my guild. So they became friends, adversaries, I guess. And so over time, he would start hopping into our Ventrilo to talk, to hang out. And I remember, back almost 15 years ago, he would join Ventrilo and I go, oh my God, it's that guy. Oh my god, it's him. I'm embarrassing him so much right now. He's not going to watch this.
I love it.
And so, that happened over time, and eventually his guild kind of started going, the leadership wasn't going the direction he wanted. And one of our really good friends that we both knew kept telling me, like, dude, just go make a new character on Horde, go level, join the guild, just level. I'll run you through stuff. And kept trying to get him to do that. The day he finally said, fine, I'll make a new character, was literally the day that, like an hour before, I had decided to make a new ult and level it. So our friend Wick was like, why don't you guys just level together?
Sure.
And then he's like, I'll run you through some dungeons. And so we leveled together, and we spent like all the time together, and eventually got to the point where we realized we wanted to spend time together outside of Warcraft. And we were making and then eventually just started. That's how we met. And
is he Canadian as well?
No, he's from Florida.
What?
Yeah, he moved up here in 2010. So we've been together for a long time.
Definitely made the right choice of which country to live in.
Yes. Because I was in law school at the time, so I couldn't really make that move. So he sacrificed a lot. He left his family. He didn't leave them. We still see them all the time. But he decided he just uprooted his life. He's like, I want to move to Canada. And he is very happy with that decision of being in Canada. But yeah, so that's kind of, but while we were obviously long distance for the first couple of years, and while we would often go to these floating islands in the Grand and just sit there and hang out and talk. So that's my sappy story of why I would do one of the little islands in the Grand, because we would just go hang out there. I
love that. Does he still play?
No, he has, ever since I want to say Warlords, he would kind of quit, come back. And he's like he actually hasn't raided since the original Wrath. He's a PvPer. And that's kind of what he would do. And so he came back to play Classic. And he played Classic, and I didn't, like the Classic. And he raided, and he played it pretty hardcore. When Classic TBC came around, I played too, and we played together. So we actually got to raid together in the same guild, which was a lot of fun. And then I left the guilds because one of the officers liked to scream at me. Didn't go over well. And so I because I would stand up for myself, and he thought it was a lot of fun to just make fun of me all the time, make fun of Raider Rayo and say it's a stupid company, all this stuff. And I was like, dude, this is literally my career, my livelihood. Yeah. And so he would just always talk shit. And then eventually one day I just had enough, and I kind of gave it to him, and then he just went off the handle. Yeah. Said some pretty horrible shit. And so I left the mid-raid. I G-quit. I left Discord. I haven't spoken to them since. And then David's like, my husband, he's like, I can't stay here. He did for a little bit, and because he was an officer, and there was a lot of discussions. What do we do with this other guy? And eventually he was just like, okay, yeah, no, I can't do this anymore. So he actually just quit. He didn't want to play Wrath. Because I think Classic and TBC were kind of what he wanted to do. He didn't feel like playing Wrath, so he has since stopped. But I'm hoping he'll come back to Canada.
It's almost like the problem is the people.
Almost like, yeah. On the bright side, leaving led me over to the guild I'm in. Well, the guild just died, but I have said all of Wrath actually. So the last half of TBC and all of Wrath, I've been in Subfresh, which is the guild run by Snuts. And so it has a lot of the PvP streamers. I had a friend who was over here who I said, hey, can I join your guild? And then I've made a fantastic friends here. We have our 10-man group who we're the only ones who consistently do 10-man. We haven't in a bit, but our group will be continuing to Kata as a group because the guild's dead. Like, we're not going to 25-man raid in Kata, but so it's our core little group. And I'm really glad the way things worked out that I'm in this guild now and I found this group, because it had been a long time since I've had a guild that I played with at this level or kind of more consistently. And I'm kind of back to a situation where I just have friends to hang out with all the time and just play games. They aren't involved in my work. I can just kind of let loose and just have fun. And it's one of those things where, my husband was like, what are you going to do tonight? I'm like, going to go hang out with the guys. Right. I've got the guys again. I've got that group where I'm just going to go play Pal World or go play some League or, because we play a lot of other games together, or just literally just sit there and shoot the shit. So, it's a really fun group. I get to play with a couple friends I've known for a while. And then, Do you know who Phil Westside is?
No.
Ex Race World First Raider, ex Echo, and then Minnie, who's a current Race World First champion at Echo. He's there too. So, and then a bunch of guys who play together on like private servers, which I'm not admitting to on live. But yeah, so
nobody at Blizzard watches this. You're fine.
Yeah, no. I'm sure they do. They want a lot of the community managers to watch a lot of this stuff. Hi, community managers, if you're watching.
Maybe we're not fine then.
But yeah, I mean, they don't anymore. But so yeah, I found a really great group of people that I really enjoy playing with. So things are good in the game for me. I'm happy.
Cool. I love it. Hulahoops, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I've just had a great time chatting with you.
Good. I'm glad. It was awesome. I love stories, and I love hearing
I have a lot of them.
What things they're passionate about, and you have both of those in spades, so that's fantastic. Why don't you tell our friends where they can find you?
So I am on Twitter at Hulahoopsy with a Y because at Hulahoops was taken. Same thing on Twitch at Hulahoopsy. Do not call me Hulahoopsy. That is not my name. I'm just Hula. I don't stream. But that is, if you ever see me in a chat, it's me. Yeah, I tried streaming for like a week, didn't like it. And one thing I just realized we never talked about was my casting.
Oh yeah, we didn't.
Yeah, I used to be a caster. I dabbled in casting.
Where can we see some of your VODs of your casting?
Oh God, I casted for Echo during Sanctum of Domination, as well as Pieces, and I was also on BDG. In Sepulcher, I did BDG and Pieces, and I also did a couple of small shots on Aversion in Sanctum. My casting call times were like 1 a.m. It was great because I had all the European guilds. And then I think that was it for casting for that. For Raceful First after that, because I also worked during the Raceful First, so it ended up being too much. So like, I'm done. Thank you. Appreciate the experience. I've done a couple charity events for BDG when they were around, and then I also did an official Blizzard event. I casted the Undying Challenge, which was their they did an event in Wrath. So when Wrath Classic came out, they did the Undying Challenge, which was it was a 2-day event where the day one, the two teams did dungeons, and they had the gear from like kind of nothing. And then the next day was a run through Nax, Obsidian Sanctum, and Eye of Eternity. So yeah, I was one of the casters on that with Sarth, Zareen, and Crix.
Love it.
So that was the last thing I've casted. So that was, I guess, a year ago. But and I made sure I had bright blue hair for an ICC.
Makes sense.
For Wrath of the Lich King theme. Yeah. It's rainbow right now, but I kind of always have crazy hair colors.
You're the busiest person I know.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like it, yeah. But
it used to be Makes. Makes was the busiest person.
She's
I know,
incredibly busy. It's what's the line? Like it's not work if you love what you're doing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Which I do love what I do, but don't get me wrong, some of it is absolutely work. Sometimes there's building spreadsheets is not exactly something I look forward to doing, but it needs to be done. But it's just one of those things. But yes, I do try to undertake a lot. I'm getting better at saying no, I don't have time. But yeah. So anyway, sorry, random tangent. But yeah, so those where the VODs are. Otherwise, I'm on Discord. Just Hulahoops. My DMs are always open for people who ever have questions about Raider.io, want to get in touch. If anybody out there ever wants to like host an event or has a community thing coming up where they'd like Raider.io to get involved, reach out to me or to Pico, Picco, also just that on Discord. She manages all our community and event stuff, so reach out to her, let her know what you want to do, and we're always looking for more community events and organizations to help out.
I love it. Friends, if you want, you can follow us on Twitter at RIF_podcast. You can subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're inclined, drop us a review. They do help the show get discovered. And remember, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. See you next week.